I remember when Logitech first announced the G Cloud. It looked interesting, but the price tag at launch, the use cases, and the on-device performance all made me think, why wouldn't I just use my Pixel phone and my Kishi for the same or a better experience? Sure, with a smaller screen, but I mean, why is this a thing? This spring, Pringles, of all people, hosted an online giveaway here in Scandinavia where you had one chance to play a basic racing game each day, and the best time each day won themselves a G Cloud. First I thought, no way I'll win one, but then I figured, what the heck, it's like what, a minute a day? And lo and behold, 5 weeks later, my time was good enough and I got an email. Like I just had to respond with my address and phone number, and like 2 weeks later, my G Cloud arrived on my doorstep. If I hadn't won one, I don't think I would ever have picked one up. But now that I have one, I have to admit, I was wrong. I should have picked one up. The form factor is really nice. The screen size is my preferred one for tablets anyway. The controls are good enough. I mean, sure, it's not quite as good as the Razer Kishi V2, but I would honestly rather much use this controller than like a Switch, for example. The weight distribution and ergonomics of it just fits my hand pretty perfectly. Now, this is an Android device, but it has a launcher designed for a controller. At first glance, it looks maybe more like a console when you use it, but inside the settings is an option to switch to what Logitech calls tablet mode, and once inside the tablet mode, it's basically just a tablet, an Android tablet. The controller still works to navigate the normal Android UI, but it's logically a bit clunky. Their custom UI makes a lot of sense in that regard, I get it. But I quickly just defaulted to tablet mode and generally just use the touchscreen to navigate outside of the game instead, because, I mean, I've been using Android since 2010. It's natural to me. The handheld mode has a downside of also closing an app whenever you open another one, making swapping between apps for maybe, I don't know, two-factor authentication a bit of a pain in the ass. It's a small thing, but it's annoying. That said, once in tablet mode, that problem isn't there anymore. You can just swap as you normally would. And also, in tablet mode, you could easily install any of the other hundreds of launchers available on Android, and I'm sure there are some great ones for the controller out there. As for the insides of this thing, the performance isn't great, but it's good enough. It can play most of the native Android games without issues, but more intensive ones like Genshin Impact is probably just played better on another device, or stream, which we'll get into later. The intended use case of the G Cloud isn't local gaming at all, but it can be done. In fact, my kids generally use it to play Minecraft, and it's now become my go-to Fall Guys device now that they released that on mobile. Something that I tested out quite early on was emulation. Android have a lot of good emulators for older systems, and I mean systems up to the GameCube, PS1, Xbox, and 3DS run great on the G Cloud. I did try some Wii and PS2 emulation as well. Didn't really work that well. I mean, it worked, but it was a bit of a lag mess. I'm sure someone that's more talented in tweaking and doing emulation settings and such might have a lot better luck than I did. And honestly, the games that I grew up on and older are perfectly fine to play, and for the nostalgia alone, it might be worth it if you're like over 30 like I am. Do make sure that you do get a large and fast SD card though, as the built-in storage is quite limited. The intended use of the G Cloud, however, as the name indicates, is streaming games. And as someone who has been primarily cloud gaming since 2019, testing this out has been pretty straightforward, and also I think I might be one of the better persons out there to test this thing. I mean, let's be honest, most tech reviewers, they don't stream games. They have their own gaming setups and everything, and that's what they use. And most Android reviewers, they want to play, Android games or emulation games. I am a cloud gamer, first and foremost. So for me, this device, I mean, it makes sense. I have pretty much all of the subscriptions as it is. And apart from some smaller kinks, like the Booster app loading in portrait mode initially until you, of course, it's swap over, or like the official Remote Play app for PlayStation only wants PlayStation controllers. Those are things I knew about because that happens on every device. And also, I have workarounds for them, or I simply just don't care about the whole portrait mode thing. Fact of the matter is, streaming games on the G Cloud is incredibly satisfying. No matter if I've been playing Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown through Jeepers Now Ultimate, or playing Hogwarts Legacy on Boosteroid, or Minecraft Dungeons on xCloud, or streaming my PlayStation through the PS Play app, or playing, I don't know, modded PC games through Shadow, they all work really well, just as good as on any other device. With the comfort of having a built-in 7-inch display that's 1080p and really good, with controllers built into the whole device, having access to all of my thousands of games across all of my platforms available on a single device, it's quite unreal when you think about it. Overall, this device has become one that I always bring with me and I play on wherever I can. Battery life is equally impressive, and it doesn't become scorching hot while streaming games, unlike my phone sometimes does. And hanging out in bed with the G Cloud or on the couch or at the lunchroom at work, it's just a great general gaming experience. Once I started enjoying the device, I also started looking for accessories, as you do. Did find some cheap tempered glass screen protectors on Amazon, but other than that, the nicheness of the G Cloud does limit the shopping options severely. I did also accidentally place it in the same pocket in my backpack as an old ketchup packet at one point, while on the trip with the family, and ended up with the right side of the device covered in ketchup. Needles and tops and 85% hand disinfection made sure to work all the ketchup. It was quite easy to get out. And honestly, months later, doesn't even notice. And while the G Cloud's hardware is on the weaker side, the fact of the matter is, most hardcore gaming on this will be done by streaming, which means who cares? All it needs is an internet connection and battery, and it has that in plenty. I can stream 1080p gaming from all platforms to this, and I will be able to do that for years to come. This is a device that will not really feel old. Like, you can buy it 5 years from now and still feel like it's a good device to get. So with all of that in mind, the Logitech G Cloud has my seal of approval. No matter if you're cloud gaming and or the portable option to use when the TV is taken, or you're out and about, or waiting outside your kid's music class, or you want to have a handheld emulation station for those childhood memories, G Cloud does all of that and then some. At a price tag that I used to feel was too high, but honestly, now that I've used it, it feels way more than reasonable. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.